Medical disclaimer. This video is for informational purposes. It does not replace the medical advice of a trained doctor. Seek medical advice before beginning any treatment plan. Good morning or afternoon or whenever you're watching this. It's Mike. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Just give me a moment here. I just had to get that up. Man. Today's magical number. Oh God, I'm high. 13.9 with arrows going up. Means another fun morning. We can't figure out why I'm doing this. But hopefully one day we'll get it solved and things will go back to being a normal blood sugar. Yay! What I want to talk to you today about is supplies. We know that supplies are astronomical. The amount of money tied up in diabetic supplies. And you want to make sure you have enough to carry you over. However, if you don't, it ends up being an emergency. I can remember as a teenager we moved and we packed up everything, sent it away. We didn't even think, and we went to the new place and it wasn't ready. And here I didn't have any syringes. I think for some reason, I don't know why we just didn't go to the drugstore, or probably because back then you had to have a prescription for a syringe. Now I just think you go and ask for it. But you want to make sure you have supplies. I've done this video once already, many, I think 3 years ago or whatever. But it's a little kind of system I got in place for ordering my supplies. And I learned this when I worked for a large retailer. And I call it DOG. Diabetic Ordering Guide. And it's very simple. You count how many items you have of a certain item. And then week later, you count how many you have. In the second column, you want to write down any supplies that have come in since your last count. So you have how many you had on hand at the beginning, any supplies you come in, any that you had to write off as the third column. So that would be if a syringe malfunction or tubing didn't work, you would write one off there. Then you would subtract your end column. And your end column is what you have, and that becomes the beginning of the next week. Poof! All of a sudden, you know how much of a certain item you've used in a week. Now you set how many weeks supply do you want to have? Do you want to have a month's worth? So that would be 4. So you take that number and you use it times it by 4, which will get you how many items of that particular product you need. It keeps your costs down, and we all know with diabetes that's important. Everybody is trying to save money. So using dog can help. It doesn't mean that if you want to go out of the box and order a lot more, you can go ahead and do that. But if you're looking to have the amount of products you're going to use in, let's say, a month, then you can phone up your drugstore and say, I need this, 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 and this is how much. I know personally I hate going to the drugstore and say, well, I need some reservoirs. Oh, but what else? Going through my mind. It's not easy to do. And you have to make sure you keep the numbers in order. Write down. I don't have my phone, I was going to show you my phone. Keeping them present in your phone. That way, you can do everything all together. Good control, we talked about this before, goes from preparing for the worst. You want to also make sure you have enough supplies so it doesn't become your worst. I've watched a few videos where the lady or the gentleman or whoever, I've run out of insulin, I've run out of my pump supplies. I'm not going to say this is going to stop this from happening, but having the dog system in place, just take a look and order. And then maybe in the future, you don't have to do a count to see how much you have, how much you don't have. Now, how do you set this up? Okay, rows. You're going to write down each item gets its separate row. So, for a fact, you will have syringes, you will have alcohol wipes, and so on and so on. You will have columns, and the columns, first of all, will be the size. You need to know what size these items come in. So, alright, so then you go on hand, one column. So you count how many of the syringes you have. And if you write, I've got 4 syringes, but I bought 20 last week, so 20. So obviously 20 plus 4. Next column would be write-offs. We had 0, so we have 24 units. We use 16. So if you want, that tells us that we have 8 left. 8. So 8 times 4 will tell you how much you actually need. And it can fluctuate. Don't worry if it fluctuates. It's just telling how many you utilize. If you go from syringes to pump supplies, you can see how much you're utilizing each month. You can do this on the computer. You could do it on a piece of scrap paper. It'll help control your expenses. But don't feel like you're going to order too much, because you know in a month you'll go through this. Sometimes if you end up with half a pack of something, you have to make the decision: do I want to order and have extra on hand, or hold back? It keeps your supplies in order. It allows you to see and utilize what you're using. And it helps put out a fire. And for those of you who are in management, you know what I mean when I say put out a fire. It stops emergency situations. We've all been there where we've all made mistakes. So now, give it a try. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.